I've been very excited to come here. It's been years since I've been to Asheville, and I like being here because y'all have it all. You know, you have like street crime and woods crime. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the only places in America where a deer could get shot with a Uzi. You know what I mean? Like, y'all really moving out here. No, it's incredible. I was, last time I was here, we were on the road and we were headed to a show, and there was a dude. Okay, there's no good way to pop out the woods. I'm trying to be fair to him, right? Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know how it could have been better, but there's no good way. This dude, we're passing by in the car, and things happen fast when you're on the highway and everything. But from far away, until I passed him, I see this dude pop out going. And it's so hard to tell if he needed help or if someone else needed help. Do you know what I mean? Like, you either the victim or the assailant, but you looking like you could be equal parts right now. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like his head, like it wasn't like he had an injury or something. He's like, oh, what happened? He looked surprised that there wasn't more woods to run through. This dude popped out of the woods like there was supposed to be more trees. This man popped out of the woods and froze. And my friends and I were just looking at him in the car as we passed. One pointed and, okay. He ran out of the woods as if to be like, oh, I made it, I'm free. Or, damn, they got away. I can't tell which one it was. No, because he was dressed. It wasn't like he was a naked man, but okay, even if you're wearing clothes, there's a certain amount of legs open that make you feel naked to other people. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he ran out like it doesn't matter that I have pants on right now. This is a very naked stance to take. This doesn't look, these aren't regular clothes stances. And so the fact that he ran out of the woods and stopped and was looking around, it's like, you might as well be naked because you're making us a naked amount of uncomfortable, you know? My man busted out of the woods. And, I wasn't next to him. I was in a car, thank God. I was in a car. But you could just tell from looking at him, he breathing heavy, which means he was running in the woods for quite a while. Looking around all low. Why? Just stand up. Like, do you know what I mean? There's nothing to hide behind now. So being this low, legs open, looking around, this is a much more comfortable position to look around in. This man ran out, and we saw him. Okay, so we saw when he busted out of the woods, we were pulling up, so we saw him bust out of the woods, and then one of my friends pointed, and I know he couldn't hear us. I know he couldn't hear us. Like you should know I know that. I know he couldn't hear us, and the windows were up. He couldn't hear us, right? But my friend was like, do you see that guy? And right when he said, do you see that guy? This man, I turned, I looked, and he looked at me. Now, I know I'm in a moving car. He probably just looking in my direction. But I screamed like he was in the car. I wanted to have nothing to do. The fact that this man, I'm lit like this, and then this man, nah. Sometimes it's not the time to smile, Smiling after running out of the woods, I think you are the assailant. I think that But no, it's great to be back. It's great to be back in Asheville with you. Can I tell you a story? When I was a kid, I was walking down the street, and it's funny, man. Art can save your life. It really can. Cause I was walking down the street, and there was this dude right in front of me, right? And I wasn't like too close to him, but I was just basically keeping up pace with him, and we hit a light, and so he stopped, I stopped, and I was just looking around, and I saw a new mural that had been painted, and I don't know, it just fascinated me. I took a second to look at it, and I guess the light had changed, and we had the right of way, and he went off walking, and I was still just staring at it, and then just as I decided that I had taken it in enough, I turned and got ready to take that step off the sidewalk. And then in the middle of the street, this car had, I guess, run a light and was about to run another light, and it hit that guy, the guy that I was right behind, you know? And he's okay, by the way. I mean, he did get hit by a car, but like he's the level of okay that you are years after getting hit by a car. He moved on. Like, he walked away that day. It mostly hit his ass, but like it did graze him in a way that, like, because I was just a couple steps behind him and because I've been keeping pace with him for a whole street, I was like, that would have hit me square. You know? And I mean, they were trying to stop. They had slammed on the brakes. That's actually maybe one of the reasons I turned, because I started hearing the screech, and I saw it, boom. And he got up, but he did bounce. Like it's like, if he bounced, I would have flown. I don't know why it is when you get hit by a car, sometimes your shoe fly off. I don't know why people don't tie their shoes tight enough, but like, this thing like hit him from behind. He spun and he went up a little bit, and his shoe flew right. But his shoe took so little resistance to fly off. Like, it would be different if he had like rolled over the windshield and the shoe flew off after that. But the shoe started flying off before it looked like he was really going in the air. It looked like he had one shoe and one sandal. The shoe was so ready to fly off. Anyway. I still can't get over what happened Sunday at the Super Bowl. I want to be clear about something, right? I watched the Super Bowl not really rooting for any one team, just sort of watching to watch. This is a big event and everything. And the Chiefs lost harder than the Eagles won. I don't know if that sentence makes enough sense, but it, like, at a certain point, I was just like, maybe I could play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not good either. I could get tackled too. Oh, that was rough. That was hard. There was one point where I was watching it, and I was like, guys, you want to watch a good game. Like, in my mind, you want to watch a good game, especially when you don't have any loyalty to any team. You just want to watch like a really fun, wow, that's crazy type game. And it was such a thrashing that I was like, y'all, not in front of Taylor. Taylor done shown up and got dressed and everything. And there was one point that they went to Taylor on the camera, and they booed Taylor. I was like, what did she do? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing America hates more apparently than a woman minding her business. Because even she was like, I couldn't have done anything. But I tell you what, I want somebody to believe in me, to really, truly, from the bottom of their heart, believe in me the way those commentators believed the Chiefs could make a comeback. The things that I was hearing made me feel dumb. I started to feel like I didn't understand football at all the way they were talking. They were talking so wild about, so first 10 points that the Eagles got, they were like, hey, fun little fact for you. Every time the Chiefs win in a Super Bowl, they come from behind. I was like, what stat is that? All right. Okay. And then the Eagles scored another touchdown. They were like, well, it's only the first half. Anything could happen next half. I was like, all right. And then they have the halftime show. Then they come back from the halftime show, and then they're asking one of the announcers. They're asking one of the commentators, like, what was the mood like in the locker room for the Chiefs? Like, what was the plan? And the person they were talking to was like, they know. No, they know they like 34, 39, whatever points behind. They were mostly talking about that. They were like, oh, we got to go out there and correct that. That doesn't feel good at all. We got to do the opposite of that next time. Was the general mood in there, was to just be different than they were before. I think there was a little prayer. Yeah, they were in, they were in tough spirits, but they're going to try and make a comeback in this next, because Taylor's here. We got to do it. And it was the third, I think it was the third quarter. The Eagles scored again. And the announcers came on, they're like, look, you never want to celebrate too early if you're the Eagles, right? Because you have no idea what these Chiefs could do. You can tell they're just trying to save the ratings as hard as possible to make it seem like there could be this 10-second comeback of 59 points or whatever they need. It was the most insane. I was like, no one has ever believed in me the way that they're like, you never know though. Even when it was the last 5 minutes, they were like, you never want to celebrate too early because that's how you can lose the game even when you are 99 points ahead, okay? It's the hubris that loses games. I'm sitting there like, do I not know how to count? Like, it's too many sevens away. I think they got it. Like, I'm not the best at math, right? I'm not the best at math. I needed a math tutor, and my math, okay, I was in algebra, okay. Math is like one of the only things that I really struggle with genuinely, and not like basic math, but math once it gets like conceptual, right? And so I had to take Algebra 1 twice. It's the only class in my life, I think, or maybe there's one other, but it's one of the only classes I've ever failed and had to take again, right? And so I'd take Algebra 1 twice, and I was so thankful when I finally got like a C after the second time. And then they made me take Algebra 2, and I was like, last I checked, 1 + 1 is 2. I don't know what y'all are trying to do to me, okay? But I was at Algebra 1, okay, I had 2 math tutors, and one tutor quit. One tutor quit because it was, okay, they were helping me, and then I was basically getting things so wrong that they were questioning. They had to get away from me before they didn't know algebra anymore. And so then I knew I was bad. I knew that algebra was like never gonna be in my job description because my second tutor, there was one time we were working on a problem and she stopped herself just short of fully saying it, but she saw me struggling so hard. This woman almost said, sound it out. And And she stopped herself, but you could tell, like, beneath the surface, there was this thing of like, I don't even know how to help right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. I hate when people look at the efforts of like elite athletes as if they're not all incredible. The Kansas City Chiefs are good. They were just bad that day against the Eagles. I throw a football like I just got an arm. So I'm not gonna be over here judging too harshly, right? It's just the way that they fought so hard. Oh no, they can pull it out. Trust me, they can do it. You know? And then my friend shared a theory with me. This was crazy. This dude told me, I was talking to my buddy David, and David said, because I told him the thing I just told you, right? I was like, I've never seen a game like that where they've tried to make it seem so even the whole time, even though the numbers were on the screen. And my buddy David said that Tom Brady was one of the ones really pushing that narrative, and he thinks that it was because Tom Brady is jaded from the fact that off of this potential three-peat, people are already calling Patrick Mahomes like a GOAT, like putting him in that conversation. And so they're like, they're basically lifting up Patrick Mahomes very quickly and very young, very like, you could even maybe say a little early in his career for the GOAT conversation. And then Tom Brady, who's obsessed with the game and gave so much of his life to it, sees that and feels some type of way. And so he was basically telling me that every time they did that, that was actually just Tom Brady digging in. And I watched some of it again, and I think he might be right. Because it was coming off hella sassy when you watch it back with that context. Like when you see Tom Brady commentating on the game, he's like, yeah, Mahomes. I mean, you never know with these Kansas City Chiefs and how good Mahomes is. Maybe he can come back from 30 points. I mean, maybe he's just that good. We don't know, right? A lot of people are calling him the GOAT. I mean, not today, but a lot of people are calling him the GOAT. So maybe he could do it. Interesting strategy, getting sacked again. I've never seen anything, but this Patrick, he's good. He's very good. He's probably used this as a strategy to lose by so many points in the first half that he really comes back in the second half. Because he can, because he's Patrick Mahomes. You know, back when I was playing, I tried to not get sacked, but I guess if I had been sacked more and then won after that, people would be more impressed, but isn't it? And then you had the Super Bowl halftime show. By Kendrick Lamar. This was crazy because, okay, everyone has their opinions about it, right? But I know when I was watching it and it started and I saw Samuel L. Jackson. I saw Samuel L. Jackson, the camera goes over to Samuel L. Jackson, he's like, it's your uncle, Sam. And I was like, oh, we had already started. That was dope. That was dope to have Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam was dope. Because one thing is obviously the little like wink wink, cute thing, right? But one thing that Kendrick is incredible at doing, something I haven't seen people really be able to do, whether it's through music or imagery, is layers to a story. And there's multiple layers to everything that happened, right? Samuel Jackson is playing Uncle Sam, Body of America, welcoming us to the Great American Game. The Great American Game is in the game of Kendrick's life that's about to play out, right? That's why we see the PlayStation controller on the football field, the game as in football, and the game as in the thing that we're all in, the thing that we all play. Whether you feel like you're playing it or not, you're a part of it. You know? And one thing you have to watch out, because Kendrick leaves these Easter eggs and stuff like that, you also can read so deep into it, you go off on a deep end, where if you were able to talk to Kendrick, he would be like, nah. The internet is full of them. The internet is full of like, yeah, so then he had these dancers come out in red, white, and blue because Drake, because he beat Drake blue, and then you gonna see red because we beat him so much that the red comes out and Drake is white. Like, I think that's a very misguided take. But you can get there. It's very easy to get there. You start searching, hunting, trying to read into every little thing. And if you're not careful, yeah, you go off on some deep end. That's not what anybody intended, you know? And this dude says it because that's the other thing. He sets you up with some pretty fire lines that make you start digging. He specifically says, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So now even I'm digging. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, the Louvre. All right. Drake is Canadian, French Canadian, the Louvre. Yeah, French Canadian, the Louvre, like in France where they keep the art. But Drake's not an artist, no. No, that might not be it. That might be, that was dumb, my bad. And so he does the snippet, some people are calling it bodies, and then he does Squabble Up, and out of nowhere, after Squabble Up, Samuel Jackson comes out again, no, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. One of the things that if you've been black in America at any point you've heard about yourself, whether you overheard it from people talking behind your back or it was told to your face, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto, there's something wrong with you just being yourself. You know? And it's delivered by Uncle Sam. Right? I don't know, when I go to like a new place, one time my friend was asking me, because I travel so much, he's like, how do you know how racist a place is when you go there? You know, don't you think about it? I was like, yeah, I think about it. You know, if you're black and you travel in America, you think about it a little bit. And I was like, you know, this is the way that I know. I'll just go to like a West Elm or a Patagonia or a Lululemon, or I'll just walk in and look around, do a little shopping, and just smile at people. And however long it takes them to smile back is probably how much danger I'm in. You know, you go into Patagonia, you smiling at everybody, hey, and you get a couple smiles back quick. You're like, all right. We're safe. But if you walk into a West Elm and everybody just looking, looking at each other too. No, you say something. Somebody finally approaches. They're like, can I help you? I know we're not staying there tonight. So then this dude, Uncle Sam, Samuel Jackson, tells him, tighten up. He asks him, Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Yeah. Do you really know how to navigate? Do you really know what's expected of you? Do you really know what to do next? Yeah. Then tighten up. Yeah. And that's a wild conversation to have with someone who maybe even thinks they're helping you, right? Because that's been told to me in different ways by lots of people. Like, tighten up, watch yourself. Don't be too loud, too ghetto, too reckless, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's white people, sure, but sometimes it's older black people that I know that just want you to be safe because they know how the game is played, right? Because I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I'm not exactly a hard individual. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Not only am I not a hard individual, I remember one time, my mama tried to raise me to be a gentleman, and there was this one time I was in college, and I'm working on a group project, and one of our classmates was ready to go to her car, and she was like, "Hey, does anybody mind walking me to my car?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "Does anybody mind walking us to my car?" I'm not a hard individual. I'm smiling at everybody. Literally, I use the smile test. That's how I know if a place is safe or not. I smile. I make myself open, right? I show. I'm no threat. And I even got in trouble with my friends one time because we were walking down the street in Chicago, and made eye contact with this cop, and he was like mourning, just a little passing mourning, and then I didn't realize it came out like this, but apparently I was like, "Officer." I don't remember it like that, but apparently that's how I sounded. My friends were very upset with me. One of them said I said it like I was welcoming him home. I thought I just said, "Officer." Apparently I was like, "Officer." So once again, I'm not a hard individual. So if I've got the speech, if I've got that speech, tighten up. That's too loud, that's too reckless, that's too ghetto. If I got it, damn. There's no end to the game that you can try to play with respectability politics. You can either be yourself or you can't. And if you can't, then to whatever degree that you can't, doesn't really matter. Do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up. It goes into Man at the Garden, and Man at the Garden is one of those things. It's a refrain. I deserve it all these things, right? And he's on the block, and you see these boys on the block, so black, gold teeth, dreads, everything. And then they scurry, they see Uncle Sam coming. Uncle Sam walks up, Kendrick's already walked off, and he says, "Oh, you brought your homeboys with you. Okay, little culture cheat code." Turns to the camera and says, "Scorekeeper, deduct one life." And some people didn't hear it. Apparently the mixing wasn't great for everybody. So there were some people whose review of Super Bowl halftime was pretty bad, and some people thought they were just being haters. But no, genuinely, depending on where you watched, it depended on the mix that you heard. So there were little things that Kendrick said that either went over people's heads, they didn't quite hear, music was too loud, too soft, whatever. I was watching the Super Bowl halftime on Tubi, and Tubi did incredible. Tubi knocked it out of the park. I was like, man, Tubi was like, this is our chance. We cannot mess this up. A lot of people don't know we exist, and we're literally free. We have to knock this out of the park. And they did, because I heard everything. I saw Samuel Jackson turn, scorekeeper, deduct one life, and that thing hit me hard, because that is what happens. That is part of the game. You should know that. That's one of the reasons that it's sometimes scary to stand up, it's scary to be different, because whenever you build community, they usually deduct one life. Whenever you make a movement, They deduct one life. And there are plenty of examples of it happening with black people and black culture, but it is everybody, just so you know. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter when you came to this country, try to start a union. And look, it might not be you. They might miss. But it is what happens. Deduct one life. And it's wild to hear Samuel Jackson deliver that line, because Samuel Jackson was an usher at Martin Luther King's funeral. Right? Like, Samuel Jackson used to be way more militant. And I'm not saying he's not now. I'm just saying, like, back in the day, he was about that action. He'd lock you in a room and wait till you came to your senses. So then they go to Peekaboo. I don't know, it's just funny to me what Kendrick just played the Peekaboo. I had to laugh. People have so many theories about Peekaboo, about him using Luther and all the stars, SZA coming out, being on the triangle. Like, I'm not acting like I caught every single thing, but I know that when Samuel Jackson pops up again and he says, yes, see, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what America wants. Nice, calm, you're almost there. Don't mess this up. Right? Yeah. Because if we're being honest, that is the truth of the matter. People, even sometimes people who love hip hop, love black people, love anyone different the way that people love those tigers they take pictures with. I don't know if you've ever been on Tinder. But every once in a while on Tinder, there'll be somebody with one of their pictures is just them next to a full-blown tiger, hugging them. And the tiger's sedated as hell. The tiger is over here. And they're over there hugging its neck like they're in the Jungle Book. Like, we have to protect these beautiful animals, all right? We have to preserve their way of life. Oh, shoot him again with the dart. He looked like he was opening his eyes for a second. So sweet, so gentle. Deep down, they're just gentle creatures. Shoot him again. He moved that leg. I don't like what that leg doing. Looked like he gonna get up. And that is how people sometimes, prefer their hip hop, prefer their protests. Why can't you just do it sedated? Why can't you just tone it down a notch, right? And then he plays Not Like Us. And people lose their minds. I loved him. I loved him playing it because of what he said when he started it, 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. That's wild. If you really think about those lines in any context outside of the Super Bowl, outside of Drake, the song, Not Like Us, everything, they still stand all on their own. How many of us feel like we're in a rigged game? And it was beautiful to watch Not Like Us get played on that world stage, Drake tried. He tried his best. That dude tried his damnedest. Not only did he try, that dude went to Australia. Not only was he not in America, he was under the earth. This man went under earth to do, to his credit, I'm not acting like he's not a big artist. I'm not acting like he doesn't have an album dropping this weekend. I'm saying, like, this dude went under the earth to do an arena show just to make sure at least these people aren't watching the Super Bowl. Can you imagine? You go to that Anita Max Win tour. You paid extra for tickets. You pretty close, and you get a little curious. Drake on stage. What is that? What is that? Get him out of here. Then, you had that dude. That dude performed Not Like Us. When I was what was it, like 2 years ago? I went to visit my friend. Now, my friend had a baby years before that. By the time I met his kid was 5, because we hadn't seen each other a really long time. And cutest kid. It's crazy that my friends are having kids, because I can see, you ever see somebody who looks so perfectly like a mix of their parents? You see perfectly both of those people in this new person. And we were supposed to hang out all day, and he went, and we were in the kitchen, and he grabbed something for us to drink, and so he had poured himself an almond milk, poured kid something, was like, "Will you want anything?" I was like, "Oh, I'll just take that," and then poured me something. He's like, "I'm gonna just go ahead and get changed, I'll be right back." He goes upstairs, and now it's just me and his kid, and I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm good." And it's crazy, because he even had I'm just meeting this kid, but he already had my buddy's mannerism. Just that shoulder thing. "I'm good." It's exactly like his dad. "I'm good." I was like, "Oh, okay. You having a good day?" He's like, "Yeah." You know, it's like, "You excited? I think we're gonna go to the zoo or something." He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm excited. Be fun, you know." And then he turned around and he knocked my milk over. And this kid had been so sweet up until this point. I was sure it was an accident, right? Until he turned to me and he was like, "I spilled your milk." And when I tell you that thing was imprinted on my memory, like I had actually forgotten about it for these like 2 years. Until Kendrick said, "Say, Drake." Kendrick Lamar has an incredible smile, but he always seems to use it for dastardly deeds. This man said, "Say, Drake." I haven't been that scared. I know he was talking to Drake, but even I was at home like, ooh. Like, that man whipped around and said, "Say, Drake," like he just ran out of the woods. Oh, that was crazy. That was insane. "Say, Drake." And then you see a glimpse of Serena. I couldn't believe I saw Serena dance. I was like, "Is that Serena?" And Kendrick and Dave Free must have known we wouldn't believe it was Serena, because then they showed her again. I was like, "Well, that is Serena!" That's Serena over there, crip walking. Which, if you pay attention to the layers, you pay attention to the storytelling, one of the most beautiful things about Serena being on stage, crip walking, dancing, right, is not just as a sort of FU to Drake, right? Because it is. Because her and Drake, you know. And then Serena moved on, and Drake couldn't handle it. A lot of people think that Kendrick Lamar is Drake's kryptonite, and he really isn't. Drake's kryptonite is a woman who's moved on. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that Drake hates more than a woman minding her business. And so he would make songs, little sneak disses at Serena, little sneak disses at Rihanna, all this stuff, right? He loves beefing with women who have moved on. The best way I can sum up Drake to me is one time I was in Chicago, and apologies if you've already heard this little quick story, but I was in Chicago and I was sitting on the train, and this woman gets on the train, beautiful, like knockout gorgeous woman, right? And she ended up sitting next to me. And then this other dude gets on the train, and he's sitting across from us, and he tries to holler. You know, he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing, right? Now, this dude, to be fair, was very good looking. He was very good looking. Like when I looked up at him, I was like, oh, you two would make sense. Very good looking dude, put together everything. And he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing? What you doing? Where you going? How's your night? You know? And then she looks up from her phone and she goes, oh, nah. And I hated that I was sitting next to her because I had to turn all the way around. But she goes, oh, nah. And he just sits there. Sits there for like, maybe 40 seconds. And then train doors open. And he looks at her and he's like, you can't hurt me. And then he got off the train. And that's what a lot of Drake beats with women feel like to me. Because the layers of Serena dance is not just like this FU to Drake. Is one, also, we're playing the game, right? We're all part of the game. And it's a black woman having a good time. Which is also pretty revolutionary. You know? If you follow Serena, and if you follow tennis, you'll know that when she did the same dance at Wimbledon, they came for her hard. They said it was too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. And now she's doing it in front of the world. In front of the world with nothing but joy and people cheering her on, right? Giving us full circle moments. I thought that was so dope. You know? I even tried to do it. I hurt myself. I popped right up. I was like, oh, Serena! Oh. And I think that one of the most revolutionary things you can do is just have joy. Just have a good time. I watch so many people just having fun. I watch people watch it and have fun. That warmed my heart just to see so many people having a good time. I know it wasn't for everybody. I know there were some people that thought it was boring, they didn't like it or whatever. And he said ahead of time, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So it may not be for you, and that's okay. But I watched so many people have such a good time. It was dope, you know? And it's more than fitting. It's a blessing. It's an honor to talk with you about this, about black music, about black joy at the Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina, a place that in the 60s and 70s had incredible black acts, you know, was sometimes one of the few places that they could get booked, where black-owned radio stations had DJs do party nights. Like, it was great to be here, and I appreciate you having me, you know? I I think that for the most part, when I think about the halftime show, and when I rewatch it for the 100th time, and there were so many people that were critical of Kendrick. It should have been more. He should have done more. He should have like gone up there, been more militant. He should have done this, should have done this. And it's like, look, can I just tell you, I'm not trying to be a bummer when I say this, but like everything you've ever watched that ever went out on a broadcast that you thought was revolutionary or you thought was ultra militant was approved for you to see by a corporate lawyer. Like all of it was. You know? In fact, whenever a moment gets through that's not that thing, that person usually faces swift consequences. There are so many people that are like, no, he didn't go far enough. He could have done so much more. And it's like, look, I understand. That's what people are saying. But if you really believe that, if you really believe that he should have done so much more, I can tell you this, art can save your life. Art can absolutely save your life. I believe it from the bottom of my heart. But believe me when I tell you that entertainment will never be your salvation. All right? Art can save your life, but entertainment by and large is escapism. And no one has ever escaped their chains by forgetting they were there. So you cannot, when I tell you, you will not be saved through entertainment alone. Expecting Kendrick to rap so good that Trump is like, I'ma stop. Like, be serious. If you really believe that, if you really believe he didn't go far enough, he didn't do enough, there was so much more he could have done, forget the symbolism, forget the double entendres, he should have spoke plainly, he should have put it all out there. I have great news for you. There are these things called books, right? There's these things called books, and every revolutionary that the government was scared enough to murder, almost all of them wrote one before they died. And they're so confident that you won't read it, they have it for free at the library. I'm just genuinely, I don't know what to say sometimes when people are like, why didn't he do this? It's like, I don't know, man. I'm not in his head. You know, he's great. You can't expect him to save you. He did an entire album where he said he wasn't our savior. The whole album where he was like, yeah, but I rap. I think it was incredible. I think it was a phenomenal show, especially in a year and a time where there are people that would have Black history disappear. You know, there are people that would have us forget. And I think the only way to stop Black history from going away is to make more of it all the time. Make new history all the time, new moments, you know? Because so many people were like, man, it was so boring, I didn't get it. And it's like, you know, it's the most watched thing right under the moon landing, but I'm sure that was hate watching. You're right. I think that whatever you take away from the performance, if it's art that touched you, that made you feel something, that's good. That's all you can hope for. But if you want like a revolution, if you want change, you're probably gonna have to go outside and get some or make some. That, like, if you want, like, because then, you know, he plays Not Like Us and then we all scream mustard. DJ Mustard comes out, they're dancing. And one thing I really loved about the performance, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, is that almost always what people will do, the Super Bowl thing to do is go out there and play your hits. Make a medley that reminds us why we love you, right? And this dude, he did some of his hits, but he mostly did this GNX album. He even says it when they start playing TV Off. This is GNX. We came here from Compton, California to party with y'all. Master. You know? halftime show ends after he hits that TV off, game over, cold stuff.
Loved it.
And then they come back. Tom Brady's like, well, let's see if Patrick Mahomes can like really bring it home. Like, he's so good. I've heard he's great. I've heard he's fantastic. So I'm sure he can come back from this 2,000 point deficit. No, for real though. If you want change, art can save you. Entertainment will never be your salvation. And so if you really want to see a different neighborhood, a different country, a different world, you probably have to turn TV off. I think that the gift that someone gives you says a lot about who they think you are. I was given a gift by a friend, and I could tell that he hadn't given gifts to people who weren't like in his immediate family or people he was dating, you know? Because there are some people, they're very good at giving gifts. Like they have a real talent. It's an impeccable, like uncanny way that they can just tell what you need or what you'd really enjoy, and they get you that exact thing without you even having to say it. And then there are men. And so, my buddy got me a gift. Usually when you give someone a gift, they're like family or it's a special occasion. You know you're gonna have to get them a gift, right? It's rare, especially as you get older, to make a friend and become close enough that you need to get them a gift. That's like a barrier that some people just don't. Like if you're a coworker and y'all have been hanging out outside of work and everything, and then Christmas comes around, you're like, you know what? Let me get my coworker, let me get my buddy a Christmas gift. You don't have to. They may not be expecting it, but someone has to like make that jump first. And my friend got me a gift, and you could tell I was the first person outside of like family or a girlfriend that he had to get a gift for, because he got me socks. And when I say socks, understand, I mean a pair. Not like a bunch of socks, not a bunch of different crazies. He got me socks, and I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what that says he thinks about, because I've never been around him barefoot. I've never given the indication that socks is what I'm missing. I've never been in sandals around him. I've never had ashy feet. He's never seen my toenails. There's no reason socks I'd look covered for, you know. And so he got me these socks, and if you're gonna give somebody as a gift, if you're gonna give somebody socks, just hand them to them. This man put the socks in a bag that was nicer than the socks. The bag was very nice. I thought he got me a watch or something. The bag looked designer. And it had too much tissue paper in it. You could tell he had never got anybody else a gift before, because the level of tissue paper was clearly all the tissue paper that came when he bought tissue paper. It was every sheet of tissue paper was open and then crinkled in the back. It took me a magician's amount of time to pull all the tissue paper out of this bag. And I was pulling so much tissue paper out, I thought he got me nothing. That would have been better and funny. That would have been dope if at the end I pull out tissue paper and he's like, ah, you know what I mean? Instead, I pull out the last piece of tissue paper, and at the bottom, flat, is socks. And I'm not, look, any gift, any action like that, any act of love like that, I genuinely appreciate. And so I said thank you instead of why.
could have said why. I was thinking why. But I said, thank you. Right? And inspected the socks a little bit, and there was something amiss because it was 2 socks. But one sock had an R on it. And one sock had an L on it. And these, for the final time, weren't novelty socks. They weren't like a cool designer thing. The R and the L looked written. So, you are indicating I need a ton of help. What I have done or said around this man to be given a sock with an R on it and a sock with an L on it, because when they make socks, they leave it up to you. When all these sock makers make socks, they're like, you know what? I bet he gonna figure it out. You know, I don't even think you could do it wrong unless you put 2 on 1. He gave me a sock with an R and a sock with an L, and had the absolute audacity to smile at me and nod, waiting for his thank you like a little kid. It's wedding season, and I've been to a ton of weddings. In my life, I've been to a lot of weddings. A lot of people that I know love people. And I will say, outside, the only like good weddings I've been to are my girlfriend's friends and some of my family. Anytime it's my friend getting married, it is a disaster in one way or another. Weddings already make me nervous. Weddings make me very, very nervous sometimes because I want everything to go well for them. You know, I get nervous for the bride and the groom. Not even that I think that they're gonna mess up, they're gonna do anything. I just want it to be, you spend so much money on a day like this. You want it to be perfect. You know, and it's 2 people that love each other, that made a moment for everyone that they love to be there together. I want it to go perfect for them. And I've been to plenty of beautiful weddings, truly amazing weddings. But there are a few aspects of every wedding where things could go wrong. You know, this is where you're starting to spin some plates, make sure everything's on the ceremony, right? A lot of people do the ceremony different by culture, sometimes just different by personality. So there's a lot of different things in there that you have to be on top of. Do you have a wedding planner? Do you not have a wedding planner? Whatever it is, there's so many details, you know? Vows. There was okay. I think it's beautiful when people write their own vows. I do. I think it's very sweet because it's very easy to go up there, you know, and just do what you're quote unquote supposed to do. I'm not saying there's any right or wrong way to do it, but people clearly put some specific thought into what they wanted to say. And I think that for them, that's amazing, you know, because every relationship is different. Some people need to say some extra stuff on top of the baseline stuff, just to make sure, okay, but in front of everybody. God. And I've been to plenty of weddings where people write their own vows, and it shows the relationship that they've built over the time that they were together, engaged, everything, and it shows what's important to them specifically in this relationship. But there was one wedding where they wrote their own vows, and she went first. And they were beautiful. They were commitments that she was making in front of everyone to him, things that she was going to do because she knew how important they were to him, and ways that she would nurture him and make him feel like the person that he felt that day, right? We're going to keep this moment forever. And he also had some beautiful, beautiful vows, commitments that he was making to her, that he wanted her to understand he would keep until the day that he died. The only problem is he wrapped them. This man wrapped the vows and didn't tell anybody he was gonna do it. This man wrapped the vows, and even the pastor was like, I don't rap at all, but I've never rapped in a way that made someone lean away from me. Also, just throwing this out there, if you're gonna rap at all, like if you're gonna rap, like, cause there was no beat. He just went full 8 Mile last verse with it. And if you're gonna go a cappella, just start rapping. This man kicked it off with a, If your vows start with there's just you're in the most singular relationship of human history. Like, and it wasn't just like it was, never start rapping like you about to double dutch. This man over here. You could tell she wanted to be like, what's happening? She is probably watching them just praying it's a stroke. Like, that's a stroke would at least mean everybody gonna feel bad for you. We can come back later, do this whole thing again. This man over here. Double, either do it or don't. Don't. This man rapped his vows, and they were a couple pages long. They went on for a while, and when he got done, the pastor was like, so, do you take that she said no. And And to be clear, she didn't just flat out hit him with a no. She went, ah, which is a reasonable response. But I was split on it, because it's like, you're getting married, and if you're gonna marry someone, you should know whether they're gonna impromptu rap or not. Like, that feels like a very particular trait. If that went over your head, y'all have problems as a couple that need to be worked out, that are beyond the hip hop. Because it's like that, it was tough. It was tough, because on one hand, I was like, I get it. And on the other, I was like, all right, but like, once you're engaged, I feel like the ick's gotta go out of the window. Do you know what I mean? Like, love is supposed to go over ick. When you are with the person and you declare you're gonna be with a person for the rest of your life, you do take on their embarrassment. Like, think about it, like, you'll be married one day being like, yeah, that over there embarrassing me, that's who till we die, I'm gonna be embarrassed. That's what I signed up for. The ceremonies are also short. Like, as much of the wedding day is about the couple, the actual ceremony is usually not that long, you know? And I've been to full-on, like, mass Catholic weddings where even the priest was like, okay. But there's just so many different things that could go off the rails, you know? There's that moment in a lot of weddings, especially when you do the traditional vows, traditional reading and everything, where they say, if anyone has cause, if anyone, it's different wording in different places, but if anyone knows why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. And most weddings I've been to, everybody at least look. I'm not saying they look because they don't believe in the couple. I think they look to see if there's drama is about to occur. You don't want somebody to stand up and then you got to turn around all late and stuff. You know, you just give it a quick little, just dignified, sophisticated, quick little I, okay, all right. You don't turn all the way around. A lot of weddings I've been to, people look. And there's also the officiant, you know, who marries the couple. A lot of times it's a friend, sometimes it's like especially if it's like a religious ceremony, it's your pastor, your priest, maybe someone whose church you've gone to for a long time. And that's very important to the couple. Say it's important to, I want this person to marry us, you know. And every once in a while, you can tell. I've been to a wedding or two. I went to a lot of weddings in my early 20s when a bunch of my friends were getting married. I was living in Chicago and stuff, and I would go to the wedding thinking like, wow, I'm over here by myself. They've already got life figured out. They picked their life partner already. We're like 22. This is wild, you know? And I remember one time I got off work. I got the one day off work, so I had to miss the rehearsal dinner. And so I took a bus the next day, and being like 20 something, I didn't think it through. And so I just was like, let me go ahead. I'm gonna barely make it to the wedding as is. Let me go ahead and be dressed on the bus. And so I get on the bus, and the bus's air conditioner is broken. And so I sweat for 3 hours to the wedding. But I lucked out because I get to the wedding, and it turns out at the rehearsal dinner, everybody got food poisoning. So I I look about as bad as anybody else. We're all sweating. And the pastor officiating the wedding clearly was like the worst off, you know. Everybody clearly had like a little bit of an upset stomach and like, you know, sweat some of it out and everything. Some people looked a little green and stuff. But the pastor was fighting to get through this ceremony, and they want a ceremony at a church, and so he has to do a whole sermon that's attached to like getting them to the vows, right? And you can tell he's losing it because there's a point where he's sweating, and he's not a lot of preachers sweat, but they sweat after they preached. This man was sweating from the start, and he started clearly getting delirious because he was quoting Bible verses that are not in there. He's over here talking about like the 5th book of Corinthians, and I'm like, nah, dog. I think you seeing double. I think you seeing extra Roman numerals in that Bible. You need to sit down and deliver some of this sermon. And every once in a while you could tell he was like feeling himself like he was breaking it for a second. And he'd be like, because God. And then anytime he tried to get like real preacher with it, you could tell he was like, uh-oh. There's so many things. Even the ceremony. Figuring out how to get people from the ceremony to the reception is sometimes a battle, especially if they're not in the same place. You know, I've been to a lot of beautiful weddings where they were in the same location. You just gotta walk to like the other part of the building or right outside or wherever, and it all works. If you gotta get people from one location to another, it can be treacherous. People can be lost. I don't drink, so I don't really deal with this particular aspect. I don't know in a wedding when people are supposed to get drunk. I just know they start getting drunk right after I do. And some of it, I'm like, when? When did you drink? How? We just sat down to eat. And there's the dancing. The dancing, one of my favorite things. Okay, I've been invited to a lot of my white friends' weddings, and what I love, one of my favorite things in the world is the moment that you can tell they're about to break it down. The absolute moment that they have locked in, and I don't know if it's the liquor, the song, I don't know what it is, but they're like, I don't care who's looking, I don't care who I came here with, I'm about to express myself. Everywhere. And what I love about it is a thing that I noticed, once again, in my 20s, going to some of my friends' weddings from back in Louisiana and stuff. There's a face. There's a face that a white dude makes right before he breaks it down. And I would be lying if I said it's not the identical face a white dude has before he says the most racist thing you've ever heard. And they are so exactly the same. It's that full upside down smile, that full like. This is the face that a white dude makes before he Dougies is the same face that was outside of every school that was getting integrated, all right? is a face like no other. There is so much joy when a white man makes this face. He's either about to do the worst thing possible or the best thing he's ever done. I am telling you, it is one of the most spectacular things you could ever watch because it is coming from a place so pure. I don't know how many drinks it takes. Some people it doesn't take a drink at all. Some people that's just who that comes out. You know? Then you have the reception, you have the speeches. And the speeches can be tricky. Most weddings, best man gives a speech, maid of honor gives a speech, maybe the parents, some family, he gives a speech. And I don't know if you know you're going to give a speech, because this is hard. Like a wedding speech is intimidating because it's like everything wrapped into one. Everything that scares people about public speaking wrapped into one thing. You have to be kind of fun, you have to be heartfelt, you have to be moving, you have to really make people remember the speech, at least in your head. You gotta do all this in a matter of a couple minutes because you don't want it to be too long, and you don't want to bust out crying and not be able to continue, because then people will be like, what's going on? And so it's tough. I still remember, it was a wedding where the best man, got a little drunk, so already the speech is gonna tilt. It's not gonna be its best. And he used the best man's speech to pretty much profess his love for the groom, right? And it's like, bruh, you are exactly one ceremony late. When they ask if anyone has any reason that these two should not be wed, it was kind of in case this happens. It was speak now or forever don't. Dude stand up there, so me and Chet are boys. We boys. We always been boys. Chet was boys. And then Alyssa came. Alyssa came along and ruined it. I've just been thinking about a lot of wedding songs. I was reading the news and I saw Jeff Bezos got married to, I know. He's not here. But this is the thing. He got married in Venice, and it was supposed to be, I believe, at least at the city center, until everyone protested, and then they had to move it because the people in Venice were like, "Why would we let you do this in our face? If you do this, it will be in the water." And the people from Venice had a point. They were furious because they were like, first of all, the climate change, because they take climate change more seriously than some people believe. And they were like, they're flying here in the private jets and everything, like the environment, what are we gonna do? And then what is he leaving us with? You know, he's talking about, oh, I'm gonna spend so much money here. It's like, you don't even pay. They made a banner that said, if you can afford to rent Venice, you can afford to pay more taxes, right? And even more so than the sentiment of like the big banner was just that they used a really bad picture of him. And I don't know, I'm speaking as a sensitive person. If you got a bad enough picture of me, you really don't need to say anything else. Like that's, you got me good. No, I'm gonna think about it all day. Because apparently he spent $50 million on the wedding. $50 million. How do you even get to 50 for a wedding? 3 days, 50 million. You gotta leave something for the divorce. You spent $50 million knowing you cheat. Oh, that's crazy. No, just saying. Thought you were a businessman. And I think a lot of people aren't even really upset about the wedding so much. There's obviously people that are annoyed by the tourism aspect. There are people who live in Venice that are like, look, it's ruining our cities. Tourism is nice, it's good to make some money, but the way that people come here and what they turn our city into, it's like we're not a prop, you know, we're not a backdrop. We're real people that live here that get inconvenienced by the things that people do when they try to make our entire city about them. You know? And so they protested, and those protests at least worked to the degree that they weren't able to put on the wedding that they initially wanted to, which has made me really happy. I usually want everything to go well at a wedding when it comes to people that I know, maybe don't even know well, but there's just so much pressure that goes into it. I want that for them, and I've never wanted less of that for anyone than Jeff Bezos. Like, just the way that Jeff moves, I was just waiting. I just want so many things to go wrong. Just little things. They had to get on boats to get to other boats. They had to get on a little boat to get to the yacht. I'm like, just fall through the gap. Like, just... That would be nice if he fell through the gap and he's all... You know, and then pull him out of the water by his head so it's slippery, so it takes a while. You know what I mean? No, that would be fire, you know? Or if like the DJ played REM, you know? I just wanted one speech to just like ruin it, you know what I mean? Like one speech to be like, as everybody, hey, it's me and Jeff are boys. Me and Jeff are boys, we've always been boys, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then Lauren came and ruined it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, me and Jeff killed somebody together. Like that's. They'll never find a body, dog. There's just so many things that can go wrong. I hope something did. I know it's not nice, but neither is he. You know, it's like at a certain point, you know, you look at Jeff Bezos as this former CEO of Amazon, and you'll get people who are like, he's not even the CEO anymore. Why is everybody so upset? It's like he's still the executive chairman, and the way that Amazon was run while he was a CEO, it's just a continuation of that thing. You know what I mean? It's still working people to the bone and then chucking them out as soon as you have a robot or an AI that can take their place while pretending that that's better for all of us, and then the environmental, pledges that they make, kind of like skirting around them or dropping them entirely. It's one of those things where if nothing else, if we don't have anything else but a voice to protest him having a good day, then I think as many people as possible should do that. You know what I mean? Like and I've just never seen that before. I mean, I've known people who got married and knew that their in-laws didn't like them. I've never seen a protest. They say, speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a whole group outside like, I have something to say. If anyone knows why these two should not be wed, speak that. I do. And I don't know. I mean, I look at Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. I don't know them as people, and I don't know what their relationship is like. But I hope it's fraught. Like, I hope that it's. No, I hope that they argue a lot, and that when they argue, it gives Bezos a headache that is at least equal to like an Amazon worker who's had a box fall on their head. You know what I mean? Like, if there's just any source of balance in the universe, they will be as much of a headache to each other as they are an impact on the world. And I know that probably won't happen, but we can dream. You know what I mean? Like, I do wonder what their vows were like, genuinely. It's like, I promise to always have money. I don't know. Second wedding too. You know, his first wife, Mackenzie, definitely, at least in the public sphere, like won the divorce because people like her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she became a billion when her and Jeff split. She was like a billion, and then he was number one, and then he went to like 3, and then I think she was like 2. I don't know. I don't think that you are a bad person if you're a billionaire. Just probably, just more than likely, because the only ethical way to become a billionaire seems to be to divorce one. You know. There was one time, once again, early 20s, and a bunch of my friends were getting married, and I had to go to 3 weddings in about 5 days. Yeah, and so luckily I could afford to take a train and then fly, take a train, everything, and I don't know. I was young, so I wasn't doing the best planning at all. And sure enough, it comes time for me to head out, and I am about to be late. I stuff everything into a suitcase. I head there. I got one wedding suit because these friends don't know each other, so they're not gonna know. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show up looking sharp to each one. They're like, Josh, you really did? I'm like, yeah, I did. Go to the first wedding, phenomenal. It's very sweet. It's like intimate ceremony and everything. And next day, I get there early. Second wedding, beautiful, phenomenal, much bigger, right? And then I get down to the third wedding, And I realized that in my haste, not preparing, I didn't really pack well. I have my one suit. I've got like some shirts that I can wear and everything. I'm trying to figure out a place to do laundry, and there's nowhere nearby. And my suit is like clean because I'm not a dancer. So I haven't like sweated out, you know what I mean? It's been a lot of like, nice to meet you, yes. Take off the jacket immediately, make sure that doesn't get musty, change the dress shirt underneath, and sure enough, third wedding. The clothes I had were the last clothes. That like literally the suit was the last clean thing that I had left, so I was like, all right, I'm coming in clutch, right? And go to the wedding, beautiful ceremony, and then we get to the reception, some speeches, very sweet. Only a little bit like, I just love you. And then it's time to dance, and I'm not really a dancer, but there was a guy, he was the uncle of the groom. He's trying to get everybody to dance because he is a true believer that it's bad luck if everybody doesn't dance at the wedding, even just a little jiggle. So he's getting people up, he's like pulling people to the dance floor. He pulls me. Now I'm not a dancer, all right? I got a little bit of movement along the same plane. So you'll see me here, and then you'll see me here. And there might potentially be a snap in between. It will not be on beat, it'll be more emotive. But I'll be here, and I'll be here, and I'll be here, and I'll be here. And that was not enough for Uncle Willis, all right? Uncle Willis is over here. Come on, young blood, come on. This is what you gotta keep in mind when you cheer somebody on. Whenever you try to hype somebody up, be sure they can do whatever you're trying to get them to do. I can't stand when people try to act like this is the moment in the movie right now where you're gonna hit the beats you've never hit before. Come on, young bloods. I'm moving. And I don't know what to do because I'm not a dancer, and neither is he. No, neither is he. Even him calling me young blood was like really weird. I don't know this guy at all, but he is like adamant that I can do more. And so he starts dancing with just me. And he's like, come on, get some rhythm into it, right? And I can tell he's too far gone for me to like not acquiesce because it's starting. Like as he says, get some rhythm into it. And this man starts grabbing my hands to just violently move with his violence. And I'm staying at the one of the two, I'm just doing it faster. I'm like, all right, then I think that's... He's like, use your arms. And then this man grabs my hand and whips me around. This man spun me. Nah, dog. And he spun me when I was mid-stride. And so as he spun me, I rolled my ankle, right? And so I rolled my ankle, and it doesn't just hurt like I fell from standing up. It hurts a lot more. It's weird. It hurts so much. It hurts like I fell out of the sky. And so as soon as I fall, he sobers up almost immediately. He's like, oh no, young blood. I'm like, don't call me that. Where did you learn that? And then he helps me limp over to my seat at the table where I was eating, and I can feel my ankle swelling immediately. And so I didn't even think about it. I just kicked off my shoe so I could check my foot. And because I was down to the last clothes that I had, because of the timing that the gift was given, I just popped off my shoe, and he saw an L on my left foot. And he didn't say anything, but I saw him see it. And none of the other groomsmen said anything. But for the rest of the reception, they were all very nice to me.